You are smarter than most people. You are not antisocial. As Albert Einstein once said, the monotony and solitude of a quiet life stimulates the creative mind. If you've ever felt out of place in a crowded room, preferring the depth of your own thoughts over shallow conversations, it's not because you're antisocial. It's because your intelligence is guiding you toward deeper meaning. In this video from Spiritual Wisdom, we'll uncover why solitude is often the companion of those with sharper minds and how embracing this truth can lead to profound spiritual awakening and personal growth. Do you believe intelligence naturally draws us toward solitude? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. 1. Intelligent people and solitude. Intelligent people often step away from social life not because they despise others or carry arrogance in their hearts, but because they sense that life has a depth far beyond what can be found in shallow conversations and fleeting entertainments, and this inner knowing pulls them into solitude where meaning is clearer and truth is sharper. For Arthur Schopenhauer, solitude was not a weakness, but the natural destiny of those who think deeply. Because once the mind is awakened to greater truths, the soul finds little nourishment in triviality. In our modern world, this truth is even more visible, as countless people fill their days with social noise, endless gossip, and digital distractions, while those with intelligence and spiritual awakening quietly withdraw, recognizing that peace and wisdom cannot be cultivated in chaos. To prefer solitude is not to be antisocial. It is to be selective, to choose what uplifts the soul rather than what drains it, and to stand firm in the awareness that silence often speaks more powerfully than 1,000 empty words. Schopenhauer understood that solitude is the workshop of the mind and the sanctuary of the spirit, where creativity blossoms, vision sharpens, and wisdom matures. And this is why history's greatest thinkers, inventors, and prophets have always cherished silence. Today, solitude may look like choosing an evening of reading, meditation, or reflection over the lure of constant connection, or walking away from a crowded room, not because you dislike people, but because you crave a conversation with your own soul. This choice is not selfish. It is sacred, because through solitude, a man refines his intelligence and discovers the spiritual truths that guide him forward. In a society that often mistakes busyness for success and noise for vitality, the intelligent man must remember that stillness is where transformation begins, and that a mind trained in solitude is a mind that can withstand any storm. Yet true solitude is never about building walls of pride. It is about creating space to hear the deeper voice within, the voice of wisdom that whispers through silence. Intelligence without spirituality risks becoming cold and detached, but intelligence joined with spiritual awakening becomes a force of clarity, compassion, and higher vision. This means that the man who embraces solitude must not use it as a weapon of superiority, but as a well from which he draws insight to serve others. Modern life constantly demands that we be available, visible, and responsive. Yet the intelligent and spiritually awakened soul knows the power of stepping back, of saying no, of carving sacred time for reflection so that his presence in the world becomes more meaningful when he chooses to engage. Therefore, solitude should be seen not as an escape from people, but as a return to self, not as rejection of the world, but as preparation to re-enter it with strength and wisdom. The man who chooses solitude learns that silence is not emptiness, but fullness, not loneliness, but freedom. And in that freedom, he discovers his truest identity. Schopenhauer's wisdom reminds us that solitude is the natural companion of intelligence, and spirituality teaches us that it is also the soil in which awakening grows. To embrace solitude is to embrace transformation, and to walk away from the superficial is to walk toward the eternal, where the soul finds the clarity it has been longing for all along. Do you often feel more at peace in solitude than in a crowd? If yes, share your story in the comments so others can connect with your experience. If not, simply comment, "I will embrace solitude," to begin honoring your intelligence and spiritual wisdom today. 2. Shallow interactions versus depth of mind. Most people spend their days caught up in surface-level exchanges, conversations that circle around weather, money, or trivial matters. Interactions that are often more about protecting ego and maintaining appearances than sharing anything real. To someone whose intelligence runs deep, this kind of social life can feel draining, artificial, and hollow because they see through the performance. They notice the masks people wear, the rehearsed smiles, the empty laughter that tries to cover over discomfort or insecurity. What feels like connection to others may feel like deception to them because the energy is not rooted in authenticity. This is why many highly intelligent individuals often choose solitude, not because they dislike people, but because they are searching for something truer than small talk and rituals of ego. Solitude becomes a sanctuary where they can think freely, breathe deeply, and listen to the quiet truths that ordinary noise drowns out. In this silence, they find clarity, because the absence of shallow performance allows the soul to stretch into new dimensions of understanding. This choice is not arrogance, but alignment, an inner decision to honor what feels genuine. When you strip away the need to perform for others, what remains is a space of raw honesty, where you are no longer bound by superficial expectations, but liberated to be yourself fully. This is the space where spirituality and spiritual development flourish, because in solitude, you can finally hear the voice of intuition and the call of your higher self. History's greatest minds, from philosophers to poets, recognize this truth. Arthur Schopenhauer once observed, "The more unintelligent a man is, the less mysterious existence seems to him." His words reveal that shallow interactions flatten life into routines, while the intelligent, the spiritually awake, and the seekers of truth sense that life itself is layered with mysteries that cannot be reached through empty chatter. Those who feel alien in superficial gatherings are not antisocial. They are simply attuned to a different frequency, one that longs for authenticity and depth. This longing manifests in everyday choices, preferring a meaningful book to endless gossip, a quiet walk in nature to a crowded party, an honest conversation to a room full of masks. Each of these choices is a declaration that the quality of life matters more than its noise, and that the spirit grows stronger in silence than in performance. The pull toward solitude is also the pull toward inner expansion, because when you are alone, you are not really lonely. You are with yourself, and in that presence lies the beginning of wisdom. Solitude becomes the soil where seeds of insight, clarity, and strength take root. It teaches you to value depth over distraction, essence over appearance, and authenticity over approval. If you have ever felt drained by shallow conversations, if you have ever walked away from a crowd and felt relief in your own company, know that it is not a flaw, but a sign of intelligence and a call to spiritual development. It is life's way of showing you that your path is meant to go deeper, that your spirit hungers for truth, and that your growth cannot be confined to shallow waters. Protect your energy and do not apologize for seeking depth. Let solitude become your teacher, your mirror, and your sanctuary. For when you honor this call, you discover that true connection is not about quantity, but quality. Not about ego, but essence. And not about being everywhere, but being fully present where truth is allowed to live. If you know your mind was made for depth, not shallow interactions, comment below. I choose depth to affirm your path of spiritual wisdom and intelligence. 3. Solitude as freedom and authenticity. Schopenhauer once said, "A man can be himself only so long as he is alone." Solitude is not a curse, nor is it a rejection of others. It is freedom, the purest state where the soul breathes and the mind is allowed to expand without interference. In solitude, intelligence flourishes, creativity awakens, and truth reveals itself with clarity. To be alone is to walk into the inner sanctuary where distractions fade and authenticity emerges. It is not loneliness, but a form of liberation that gives you permission to be fully yourself. When the world demands masks, solitude offers you the mirror of your own soul. Most people run from this mirror because it forces them to face what they have long buried. They cling to constant noise, endless conversations, and fleeting entertainment, so they never have to sit with their true thoughts. But if you feel called to silence, if you find comfort in solitude, it means your intelligence is guiding you to something greater. Carl Jung once wrote, "Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." To turn inward is not antisocial behavior. It is the beginning of awakening, the threshold of spiritual wisdom. Solitude is not emptiness, but the soil where self-awareness and transformation take root. History shows us that the greatest thinkers embrace solitude as their ally. Albert Einstein admitted, "The monotony and solitude of a quiet life stimulates the creative mind." Nikola Tesla walked alone so he could listen to ideas that others were too distracted to hear. Leonardo da Vinci withdrew from the crowd not because he despised people, but because he needed the silence to unlock the visions that changed the world. Their solitude was not isolation, but connection to higher intelligence, to truth, to the divine spark of inspiration. What others mistook as detachment was, in fact, the path to genius. If you find that crowded rooms exhaust you, if endless small talk leaves you restless, it does not mean you are broken or cold-hearted. It means your mind is designed for depth. You hunger for meaning, not for noise, for genuine connection, not superficial approval. Choosing to step away is not weakness, but strength, not arrogance, but intelligence. You are protecting the sanctity of your energy, conserving it for what truly matters. Spiritual wisdom teaches us that silence is not the absence of sound, but the presence of alignment with the self. Solitude becomes the sacred ground where your inner voice grows louder than the world's distractions. When you embrace solitude, you discover that you are not running away from life. You are stepping into the heart of it. This is where your intelligence sharpens, where your soul speaks, and where your spirit finds peace. Schopenhauer was right. Only in solitude do we truly meet ourselves. Jung was right. Only by looking inward do we awaken. And the truth is clear. Your solitude is not a sign of being antisocial. It is proof that you are smarter than most people, that you are aligned with spiritual wisdom, and that you are brave enough to seek authenticity in a world addicted to noise. If solitude feels like freedom and a return to your true self, comment below. I embrace authenticity. Let this be your commitment to living with intelligence and spiritual wisdom. 4. Intelligence and suffering. With deeper awareness comes an intensity of suffering, because the more clearly one sees the truth of life, the more one feels the weight of impermanence, absurdity, and endless striving. Intelligence and suffering are inseparable. For once the veil of illusion is lifted, you can no longer hide behind the comforting distractions that shield most people from reality. You begin to notice how everything is fleeting, how desires burn brightly but fade quickly, and how every pursuit of pleasure or success leads back to the same emptiness. Arthur Schopenhauer's words ring true here. The more intelligent a man is, the more he suffers. This does not mean that intelligence condemns you to misery, but rather that it opens your eyes to see beyond the surface of existence, where most people are content to dwell. To live with intelligence and spiritual awakening is to feel the sharp edges of reality, to sense the futility of chasing what never lasts, and to recognize that desire and dissatisfaction form an endless cycle. A man may long for wealth, status, or companionship, and for a brief moment, he may feel fulfilled. But soon, the dissatisfaction returns, urging him to chase something else. When you are awake, you see this cycle clearly, and that very clarity can feel unbearable. Yet within this suffering lies the seed of wisdom. For the pain of seeing life's illusions dissolves the false and draws you toward what is real. Spirituality teaches that suffering is not an enemy, but a guide, a fire that refines the soul in the same way gold is purified in the furnace. Through suffering, you begin to seek meaning, not in the external world, but in the depths of your own being, where truth and freedom reside. In modern life, this truth is often misunderstood. Those who prefer solitude over noisy company are quickly judged as antisocial. Yet solitude for the awakened man is not loneliness, but strength. It is in solitude that clarity deepens, creativity unfolds, and the inner voice becomes audible. The Bible reminds us, "Be still and know that I am God." And that stillness is not a void, but a doorway into wisdom and peace. In a society obsessed with distraction and noise, choosing silence becomes a radical act of courage, and it is in that silence that the intelligent man discovers his power. Carl Jung noted that man needs difficulties. They are necessary for health. And this insight shows that suffering and conflict are not curses, but essential teachers in the process of individuation, the path to becoming whole. When you carry the burden of awareness, it is easy to feel out of place in a world where others seem satisfied with shallow pursuits. But this feeling is not a flaw. It is evidence that your spirit is awake. Intelligence strips away the illusions of permanence and control. And although this stripping brings pain, it also invites transformation. The suffering that once felt heavy begins to reveal its higher purpose, for it teaches you detachment from false promises and aligns you with deeper truths. Rather than running from this awareness, embrace it. For it is through suffering that wisdom matures, and through solitude that strength is born. The intelligent man, awakened to the cycles of life, learns not to numb himself with distractions, but to sit with his thoughts, to meditate, to write, to grow, and to live with a freedom untouchable by the illusions that bind others. And though the journey is not without pain, it is precisely this pain that becomes the path to profound wisdom, lasting strength, and the quiet dignity of a soul fully awake. Leave a like and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss powerful insights on intelligence and suffering. Type in the comments, "I embrace my intelligence and rise above suffering," to affirm your journey today. 5. Detachment as rebellion. Arthur Schopenhauer once described society as a stage where countless individuals wear masks, each one carefully crafted to gain approval, validation, and applause. Yet beneath these masks lies a deep emptiness that the intelligent soul cannot ignore. When you begin to see the world in this way, the constant pursuit of recognition feels shallow, almost meaningless, and you realize how much of human life is spent chasing illusions rather than truth. This is why those with higher intelligence often feel detached, not because they despise people, but because they sense something greater beyond the performance. Detachment becomes a quiet rebellion, a refusal to keep playing roles that were never authentic to begin with, a way of protecting one's inner integrity. It is not about rejecting life, but about rejecting false values, shallow conversations, and the exhausting pursuit of appearances. For true spirituality and spiritual development only begin when you stop living through borrowed scripts and start creating your own. In this rebellion of detachment, freedom takes on a new meaning, because freedom is no longer about doing what the crowd approves of, but about setting your own pace, defining your own values, and walking your own path. The intelligent person understands that solitude is not isolation, but sacred ground for growth, creativity, and clarity. While many run from solitude because it confronts them with their own inner emptiness, those who are spiritually awakened embrace it as the place where wisdom matures and self-respect is born. In solitude, masks fall away, illusions dissolve, and you are left with the raw truth of who you are. Detachment, then, is not coldness. It is the highest form of respect for your soul, a conscious decision to no longer let your energy be drained by conformity. It is a rebellion that says, "I will no longer measure myself by the shallow yardsticks of society. I will no longer trade authenticity for acceptance, and I will no longer live to satisfy the fleeting applause of others." In the context of modern life, this kind of detachment may look like refusing to chase empty status symbols, resisting shallow social circles, or daring to slow down in a culture obsessed with constant acceleration. It means saying no to the endless cycle of comparison and competition, and instead choosing mindfulness, presence, and authenticity. In a society addicted to noise, distraction, and performance, detachment becomes a radical act of spiritual awakening, a choice to live deeply rather than superficially. Schopenhauer's insight pushes you to ask yourself with honesty, what values truly belong to you, and what values have you unconsciously inherited from others? Which beliefs have shaped your choices, and which ones no longer serve your growth? By peeling away the illusions and discarding the false, you discover the true self waiting beneath the self that cannot be bought, shaped, or silenced by societal expectations. To live this way is to understand that not fitting into the crowd is not a flaw, but a form of strength, a sign that your intelligence has awakened you to realities others have not yet seen. It is an acknowledgement that true belonging begins not when others accept you, but when you fully belong to yourself. Detachment, as rebellion, is not about turning your back on the world, but about engaging with it from a place of truth, depth, and authenticity. It is about having the courage to stand apart when necessary, the wisdom to embrace solitude when it nurtures your soul, and the clarity to choose authenticity over illusion. When you live in this way, you embody the essence of spiritual development, proving through your presence that real freedom is not found in approval, but in authenticity, not in masks, but in truth, and not in the crowd, but in the unshakable strength of your own soul. Do you feel the power of detachment as a true act of rebellion? If you do, write it with conviction in the comments. I choose detachment. I choose freedom. 6. The sacred power of solitude. Solitude is not a punishment nor a sign of weakness. It is the sacred crucible where intelligence and spiritual wisdom are refined. When you step away from society's endless chatter, you begin to hear the deeper rhythm of your own soul. And in that silence, you uncover truths that the noise of the world often hides. Carl Jung once said, "Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes." And solitude is the very space where this awakening begins. The quiet you seek is not about rejecting people. It is about choosing authenticity over pretense, clarity over confusion, and depth over superficiality. This inner detachment is not antisocial behavior. It is the natural call of higher intelligence guiding you toward spiritual awakening. In solitude, you discover the rare freedom that comes from no longer needing to dilute your thoughts with the opinions of others. You begin to think more clearly, create more boldly, and feel more deeply. History shows us that the most intelligent minds, whether philosophers like Schopenhauer or visionaries across cultures, have always embraced solitude not as isolation, but as a wellspring of insight. Schopenhauer wrote that the more intelligent a man is, the more he suffers. Yet this suffering, when carried into solitude, transforms into profound understanding. The world may call you antisocial, but the truth is that solitude allows you to meet yourself without masks, to confront your fears and desires, and to discover wisdom that no social interaction could ever reveal. As this process unfolds, you realize that true freedom is not the ability to follow every impulse, but the strength to detach from illusions and live in alignment with your own truth. Solitude burns away the distractions and leaves you with the essence of who you really are. Intelligence matures here, not because of accumulated knowledge, but because of the courage to think independently, to question what others accept blindly, and to awaken to the depth of your own being. The clarity that arises becomes the foundation for peace, for creativity, and for an unshakable sense of self-knowledge. Solitude, then, is not emptiness, but fullness. It is the place where authenticity blossoms, where ideas spark with fire, and where the spirit feels free to expand beyond society's narrow definitions. Blaise Pascal once observed, "All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone," and his words reveal a timeless truth. Most people fear solitude because it forces them to confront themselves. But for those with intelligence and spiritual wisdom, solitude is liberation. It allows you to detach from shallow expectations, to deepen your awareness, and to live in the presence of truth rather than illusion. The next time someone labels you antisocial, understand that what they are really seeing is the power of your intelligence and your refusal to conform to superficiality. You are not running away from connection. You are choosing a higher connection, one that links you to your inner self and to the vast reservoir of spiritual wisdom within. This choice is not about isolation, but about transformation. Not about disconnection, but about awakening. In solitude, you will find the sacred space where your intelligence sharpens, your spirit awakens, and your soul discovers the freedom it was always destined to claim. To honor the sacred power of solitude, make your declaration today. Comment below, "I embrace solitude," to affirm your strength and inspire others to find wisdom in their own silence. And so, the truth is clear. Choosing solitude is not a flaw, but a sign of deeper intelligence and self-awareness. When you step away from the noise, you are not rejecting the world. You are embracing a higher path that only a few dare to walk. If this message has resonated with you, I invite you to like this video, share it with others who may need to hear it, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. Until next time, may your journey of self-discovery and inner strength continue to guide you toward true wisdom. When two souls think of each other at the same moment, 10 unmistakable signs. When two souls are destined to meet, even the laws of time and space cannot keep them apart. Have you ever thought of someone so intensely, only to receive a message from them moments later? Or felt a sudden wave of emotion you couldn't explain until you learned they were going through something at that very moment? Carl Jung called this mysterious phenomenon synchronicity, a bridge between minds, hearts, and even souls. Today, on Spiritual Wisdom, we'll explore 10 powerful signs that you and someone else are thinking of each other at the exact same time. As you listen, notice which signs resonate with your own life, and share your experiences in the comments. Who knows? Your story might just be the sign someone else has been waiting for. 1. Synchronicity is the key concept. Carl Jung believed that what we often call coincidences are in fact the secret language of the soul, moments when life arranges itself in ways too precise to be explained by chance. These meaningful coincidences, which he called synchronicity, reveal an unseen emotional or spiritual thread connecting two people. When two souls share a profound bond, their inner worlds begin to mirror one another, allowing thoughts, emotions, and even life events to align in ways that seem almost supernatural. It is as though they are tuned to the same frequency, vibrating in harmony regardless of time or distance. You might be going about your day when, without reason, a vivid thought of this person rises in your mind, and at that very moment, they reach out to you. Or perhaps you feel a sudden heaviness in your heart, only to later discover they were facing something painful at the exact same time. This connection isn't bound by logic. It is an exchange that flows beneath conscious awareness, an invisible current carrying signals between two hearts. Jung saw this not as a mysterious accident, but as proof that the soul moves beyond the limits of the physical world, operating in a dimension where space and time bend to the depth of human connection. It is like two radios perfectly tuned to the same station. When one plays a song, the other receives it instantly. Such alignment of thought and feeling is not simply sentimental. It is a reflection of a bond so deep that even the unconscious mind participates, sending and receiving messages in a way the conscious mind cannot fully comprehend. These moments of synchronicity are invitations to trust that there are forces in life working quietly yet powerfully to weave certain souls together, guiding them toward shared understanding and mutual awareness. When two souls think of each other at the same moment, it is more than an accident of timing. It is the unfolding of a silent dialogue between spirits, a reminder that some connections are etched into the very fabric of reality, and that the invisible world often speaks louder than words ever could. If you believe in the power of synchronicity and the deep connection between souls, repeat after me. I am open to this soul connection. It is meant for me today, and I trust it completely. 2. The collective unconscious connects you. Carl Jung described the collective unconscious as a vast, invisible network of shared symbols, emotions, and archetypes that connect every human being at a level deeper than personal memory. When two people share a strong emotional bond, they can naturally tune in to the same frequency within this shared field, creating moments where thoughts and feelings arise in both of them at the exact same time. This is why you might suddenly think of someone and later find out they were thinking of you too, or feel an unexplainable wave of sadness only to discover they were going through something difficult at that moment. Jung called these experiences synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that reveal hidden connections and the language of the soul. It's like being tuned to the same emotional radio station. No matter the physical distance, the bond allows your inner worlds to resonate together. A man once told the story of how, after months without speaking to his sister, he was suddenly gripped by an intense need to call her, accompanied by a deep sense of unease. When she answered, she was crying, having just gone through a painful breakup, and had been longing for his comfort. Without any direct communication, something within him had responded to her silent call. For Jung, such moments are not accidents, but proof of the unseen threads that weave human lives together. In our modern world, these experiences are often dismissed as intuition or gut feelings. But Jung would argue they are the unconscious mind receiving signals from the collective unconscious and processing them before the conscious mind even notices. Between two people bound by love, trust, or shared history, this pathway becomes stronger, allowing emotions, impressions, and even specific thoughts to travel without words. It's why you might reach for your phone to send a message just as the other person is typing one to you, or why their mood is obvious to you before they even speak. These connections transcend time zones, physical distance, and the noise of everyday life. They are not powered by technology, but by emotional depth and the shared experiences that strengthen the invisible cord between souls. In understanding this, as Carl Jung taught, you begin to notice the quiet signals that can guide you to act with empathy and presence. A heavy feeling in your chest, a sudden urge to reach out, or an unexpected surge of joy could be your inner self answering a call from someone you care about. Relationships are shaped not only by the words we exchange, but also by these silent exchanges in the unseen realm of the psyche. Each shared thought or mirrored feeling is a reminder of how deeply connected we truly are. By trusting these moments and honoring their meaning, you strengthen the invisible bridge between souls, allowing it to carry comfort, understanding, and love in ways the rational mind can never fully explain. If you've ever felt this deep soul connection, where thoughts align beyond time and space, comment below. I am tuned in to our shared frequency. Let the universe know you are ready to embrace this connection fully. 3. Energetic shifts without obvious cause. You could be going about your day as usual when suddenly, without warning, a rush of joy floods your chest. A wave of longing stirs your heart, or an inexplicable restlessness grips you. These feelings may arrive without any logical cause, yet they carry a certain intensity that you cannot ignore. In moments like this, you may be experiencing more than just a random mood swing. You could be sensing another person's emotional energy in real time. Carl Jung believed such moments were not accidents, but examples of synchronicity, a spiritual language through which the soul communicates across invisible distances. You might not hear their voice or see their face, but you feel their presence as surely as if they were standing beside you, their joy warming you, their sorrow weighing on your heart. Energy, after all, is not bound by physical space. It flows freely, weaving an unseen web of connection between those whose souls are deeply linked. Perhaps you have felt restless for no reason, only to later discover that someone close to you was struggling at that exact moment. Or maybe you've been suddenly overcome by a sense of peace, later finding out that they had just resolved something heavy in their life. These moments are not mere coincidences. They are spiritual fingerprints, evidence of a shared energetic field where emotions ripple back and forth like waves between two shores. Modern science might point to mirror neurons or subtle subconscious cues to explain this, but there is a deeper truth that science cannot measure. When two souls are connected, they share an invisible channel where energy, feelings, and even unspoken words pass effortlessly. Such experiences are often brushed aside in the noise of modern life. We call them stress, fatigue, or even hormonal shifts, because logic struggles to accept what the spirit already knows. But if you pay close attention and see that these energetic shifts happen most often in connection with the same person, you begin to recognize the pattern. The soul speaks through feeling long before it speaks through words, and spiritual connections often reveal themselves not in what is said, but in what is felt. Ancient wisdom has always taught that energy is the first language of the soul. And if you learn to listen, you will begin to notice these silent conversations everywhere. So the next time your heart suddenly races, your spirit feels inexplicably lighter, or a strong urge compels you to reach out, pause, and ask yourself, whose energy am I touching right now? It may be that, at this very moment, another soul is thinking of you, sending waves of emotion that your spirit cannot help but receive. And in recognizing this, you open yourself to a richer, more conscious way of living, one that honors the unseen threads binding human hearts, where every shift in feeling may be a whisper from a soul forever connected to yours. 4. Coincidences that aren't coincidences. You might be walking through a store when a familiar melody begins to play the song that once belonged to both of you, carrying with it memories so vivid you can almost feel the past wrap itself around you. Or perhaps you glance up and see their name, not because they messaged you, but because it appeared unexpectedly in an article, a movie, or painted on the side of a passing bus. Sometimes the sign is subtler, a shared symbol, maybe an animal you once encountered together in a moment that mattered, appearing again just as they cross your mind. According to Carl Jung, these are not accidents, but moments of synchronicity where the inner world of the soul and the outer world of events align in perfect, meaningful timing. These moments are the unconscious mirroring the connection between you, signals that travel beyond logic, carried in the silent language of the psyche, where emotion and energy speak louder than words. When two souls share a profound emotional, spiritual, or energetic bond, their inner worlds become woven together in ways unseen. You might not hear their voice or see their face, but you feel the pull like two instruments tuned to the same pitch, resonating in harmony across space and time. It is as if the soul has its own hidden senses, attuned to signs that bypass the mind and land directly in the heart. These moments arrive without warning, often when you are least expecting them, yet their timing feels too precise, their meaning too personal, and their impact too strong to be dismissed as coincidence. In those seconds, you are not merely thinking of someone. You are touching the invisible thread that connects you. The external triggers of the song, the name, the symbol, are the universe's way of saying, "This is real. Pay attention." The more open you are to noticing these moments, the more they seem to appear, as if awareness itself draws them to you. This connection is not bound by time, distance, or silence. It is alive and moving, breathing between you, seeking ways to make itself known. The soul recognizes before the mind understands, and these signs are its way of speaking. You do not need to chase them or overanalyze them. Instead, let them settle into you. Feel their weight, their intimacy, the way they seem to open a doorway between the seen and the unseen. As Jung reminded us, synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see. In that moment, you are meeting them not in the physical world, but in the quiet corridors of the soul, where time bends, distance disappears, and only the silent language of the heart remains. Stay connected with our spiritual wisdom community by subscribing to the channel. Here, we explore the deep connections between souls and the unseen patterns that guide our lives. Remember, your soul is worthy of the love, synchronicity, and abundance the universe is weaving for you. 5. Shared dreams and dream symbolism. Carl Jung understood dreams as the sacred language of the unconscious, a bridge between the visible and invisible worlds of the soul. When two souls think of each other at the same moment, one of the most striking signs of that connection is found in shared dreams, or eerily similar dream symbolism. When you dream of someone, and around the same time, they dream of you, it is rarely a meaningless coincidence. These vivid or recurring dreams are not random fragments of a resting mind. They are meetings of two unconscious worlds, weaving symbols and emotions into a tapestry that reveals unresolved bonds, mirrored feelings, or parallel paths of growth. Jung called this the work of projections of parts of ourselves reflected in another serving as an unconscious call for understanding, integration, and healing. Such moments appear in everyday life in ways that defy logic. You might wake from a dream of walking with an old friend through a familiar place from years past, only to find a message from them saying they dreamed of you too. Lovers separated by distance might both dream of raging seas, flooded rooms, or sudden storms during a period of emotional strain, symbols of inner turbulence that emerge in unspoken harmony. These moments are evidence of a deep psychic link, a frequency one soul sends and the other receives, translated by the unconscious into images that bypass the need for words. Jung's teachings reveal that dreams speak in archetypes, universal symbols like the shadow, the anima or animus, the wise guide, or the heroic traveler. When two people share these archetypes in their dreams, it often means their inner journeys are aligned, their souls walking parallel roads through similar lessons. A locked door may appear to both, representing guarded emotions yet to be opened. A bird in flight may speak of a shared longing for liberation. A candle burning in darkness may carry the same quiet hope for each. These images rise from the collective unconscious, the shared reservoir of human experience, where all souls are connected beyond time and distance. In a world dominated by constant distractions and fragmented attention, dreams remain a pure and untouched realm where the soul can speak without interference. They are not bound by the ticking of clocks, the glow of screens, or the noise of social media. In some cases, shared dreams even become lucid, allowing both dreamers to meet and interact with awareness, leaving behind a feeling upon waking as if they truly spent time together, and in the language of the unconscious, they have. To dismiss shared dreams as fantasy is to overlook their depth and purpose. They are messengers, guiding you toward greater self-awareness, offering glimpses into the unseen bonds shaping your life, and reminding you of the forces moving beneath the surface. The symbols, emotions, and patterns they carry are not random. They are part of a larger design, a quiet call to pay attention. As Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Shared dreams are one of the ways fate speaks, inviting you to honor the invisible threads between souls and to step more fully into the path of wholeness that your unconscious has been guiding you toward all along. 6. Physical and emotional energy signs. You could be in the middle of the most ordinary moment, pouring yourself a cup of coffee, scrolling through your phone, or walking down the street when something unusual stirs within you. A wave of goosebumps runs along your arms, a subtle tightening fills your chest, or a fluttering sensation dances in your stomach like delicate wings brushing against your skin. These aren't just random physical quirks. They are the body's way of tuning into an invisible spiritual frequency. Carl Jung, the pioneer of analytical psychology, spoke of the profound transformations that occur when two people connect on a deep level, comparing it to the meeting of two chemical substances. If there's a reaction, both are changed forever. When two souls think of each other at the same moment, this reaction doesn't just happen in the mind. It reverberates through the body in ways that are impossible to ignore. Your body is far more than flesh and bone. It's a finely tuned instrument, sensitive to the unseen vibrations of the world. Sometimes, when someone you share a deep emotional or soul bond with is thinking about you, it's as though their thoughts, send out an energetic pulse that your being instantly recognizes. The goosebumps might be the trace of their presence brushing against your aura. The sudden heaviness in your chest could be the weight of their longing, love, or worry reaching you across space. You may even see their face flash in your mind's eye, so vividly that it feels like you've been pulled into a shared dream while fully awake. And something deep within whispers, they're thinking of you right now. From a spiritual perspective, these moments are far from coincidental. They're threads of connection woven through the fabric of time and space. Jung called this synchronicity, a meaningful alignment of inner and outer events that transcends rational explanation. And in the sacred realm of love, friendship, or deep human bonds, this synchronicity often bypasses words entirely, speaking instead through the body's subtle language. Picture yourself at work, buried in tasks, when suddenly a warm wave washes over you, bringing with it an unexplainable sense of peace. Out of nowhere, you think of someone dear to you, their image rising in your mind like the sun breaking through clouds. Moments later, your phone buzzes. It's a message from them. It's as if two radios were tuned to the same frequency, and the moment one sent out a signal, the other received it instantly, no matter the physical distance. This is why learning to notice and trust these physical and emotional cues is so powerful. The more spiritually aware you become, the more you'll realize that your body is an antenna for unseen connections, translating energetic whispers into sensations you can feel. An unexplained surge of joy, a sudden pang of sadness, or a deep calm may not belong entirely to you. It may be your soul responding to the attention of another. So when you feel those goosebumps rise, when your heart quickens for no apparent reason, pause and listen. Ask yourself, whose presence just brushed against yours in the invisible space between thoughts? In that moment, you may not hear their voice, yet you are already speaking in the oldest language of all soul to soul, where every heartbeat, every sensation, carries a message across the distance. Do you feel these signs in your body and heart? If you do, declare it with confidence in the comments. My soul feels the connection, and I believe. 7. Recurring synchronicities in the environment. When certain patterns keep showing up around you, it's often the soul's way of telling you that a connection is alive on both sides. You might start noticing the same numbers appearing everywhere. The clock reads 11:11. A receipt total matches their birthday, or a license plate flashes a familiar date, and each time it feels like more than coincidence. Carl Jung saw these as synchronicities, meaningful alignments that reveal an unseen link between two lives. The same thing can happen with music. A song tied to them in your memory seems to follow you, playing in a cafe, on the radio, or from a passing car, carrying you instantly back to a shared moment. These recurring melodies are emotional signals, a reminder that your thoughts may be meeting theirs at that exact time. Sometimes it's places that pull you in. A cafe you visited together suddenly becomes part of your weekly path. Or you keep finding yourself in locations that echo something about them, whether it's the architecture of a street or the atmosphere of a park. Even new places can feel strangely familiar if your shared energy has marked them deep in your subconscious. Symbols, too, can become signposts. A particular animal, image, or object that holds meaning between you keeps showing up in dreams, social media posts, or random encounters. Jung believed the unconscious mind speaks in symbols, and when they repeat, it's as if both your souls are speaking the same secret language. These signs are not here to confuse you, but to invite awareness. They're gentle reminders that the bond is not just emotional, but spiritual, existing beyond physical distance or direct communication. When numbers, songs, places, and symbols return again and again, they are threads in an invisible tapestry, proof that something deeper is happening beneath the surface, that two souls can remain present in each other's lives without a single word being spoken. 8. Feeling their presence from afar. A deep emotional bond between two people can create an extraordinary phenomenon, what Carl Jung described as a subtle expression of the unconscious through synchronicity, where you can feel the other person's presence even when they are far away. It is not a fleeting thought or a product of wishful thinking, but a real and tangible sensation that rises from within, as if your body itself remembers them. This body memory holds the imprint of their voice, their touch, their energy, and their presence, stored deep in your nervous system. Even without a phone call, a message, or any physical sign, you may suddenly feel a wave of warmth, comfort, or even a stirring in your chest, as though they are standing right beside you. Psychologists call it unconscious projection, but to those who have experienced it, it is something far more intimate and undeniable knowing. Carl Jung believed that the psyche moves beyond the boundaries of space and time, allowing emotional and spiritual bonds to remain alive regardless of physical distance. This is why you might suddenly sense someone's sadness before they've told you, or feel peaceful at the exact moment they are thinking of you. In our modern world, this connection can appear in subtle ways. Perhaps you're busy working, and the thought of them drifts into your mind out of nowhere, only for a notification from them to appear seconds later. These moments are not mere coincidence. They are the invisible threads of a shared emotional field, an energetic attunement that distance cannot sever. There's a story of a woman in New York whose partner was working overseas. Separated by thousands of miles and different time zones, they hadn't spoken all day. One afternoon, while strolling through Central Park, she was suddenly overcome by a feeling so vivid it was as if he was walking beside her, their hands brushing. That night, she received a message from him saying he had been sitting by the ocean, thinking about their first walk together in that very park. Their bodies, hearts, and minds had aligned across continents, meeting in a moment that existed outside of logic, yet felt truer than anything. Feeling someone's presence from afar is proof that deep human connection transcends geography. It teaches that relationships built on trust, love, and emotional depth carry an energy that lingers, wrapping around you even in silence. Such moments are reminders to listen to your intuition, to trust the sensations that rise unbidden from within, and to honor the invisible yet powerful forces that bind souls together. In the words of Carl Jung, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. And when the reaction is strong enough, it can be felt across oceans, across time zones, and across the unseen distance between two hearts that remain tuned to the same quiet frequency. Have you ever felt someone's presence even when they were miles away? If so, share your story in the comments so we can all connect through these soul experiences? If not, comment, "I'm open to feeling it," and let's explore this beautiful connection together. 9. Simultaneous mood or behavior changes. You can be moving through your day, feeling completely steady, when suddenly an unexplained wave of emotion sweeps over you, perhaps a rush of joy, a heaviness in your chest, or a sudden ache in your heart. And later, you discover that the very person who lives in your thoughts was experiencing that exact same feeling at the same moment. This is rarely just coincidence. It is often the quiet proof of a deep spiritual connection that moves beyond logic and distance. Carl Jung once said, "Synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see." And in moments like these, the truth of his words becomes undeniable. Two souls with a shared energetic link are like two strings on the same instrument. Touch one, and the other vibrates in harmony no matter how far apart they are. Your mood shifts without warning, reflecting theirs. You feel light and hopeful when they're filled with joy, and you sense an invisible cloud when they're troubled. This isn't merely empathy. It is a resonance of spirit, a transmission of energy flowing beneath conscious awareness. You might be at work, focused on a routine task, when an unshakable sadness rises within you, leaving you puzzled, only to later receive a message from them, revealing that they were going through something painful at that exact time. The same happens with joy. A sudden laugh, a spark of inspiration, or a calm peace can wash over you, later revealed to be shared with them in that moment. When this happens over and over, it stops feeling like coincidence and begins to reveal the subtle design of a spiritual bond. Two souls intertwined in this way, whether through love, destiny, or a shared past, often move in emotional sync without effort or intention. It is as if your hearts speak in a silent language, transmitting and receiving signals no one else can hear. In scientific terms, it may echo quantum entanglement, where two particles affect each other instantly across distance. But in human terms, it is the unspoken language of the soul. Such a bond can be both a blessing and a challenge. You share not only the sweetness of their joy, but also the weight of their pain. It asks for awareness and grounding, so you are not swept away by emotions that may not even be your own. Yet, when embraced with understanding, this connection can create a depth of intimacy that words could never reach. As Rumi said, lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They're in each other all along. To feel their mood shift within your own is to live in the constant knowing that your spirits are moving together, guided by an invisible thread that weaves through time, space, and the quiet places of the heart. 10. Silence that feels full, not empty. Even when no words are spoken and no messages are exchanged, the silence between two souls can feel charged, as though it carries a living pulse of unspoken emotions, memories, and understanding. It is not the awkward emptiness of strangers, but a stillness so full that it feels almost tangible, as if the air between you is saturated with meaning. Every pause holds the weight of shared history. Every moment of quiet seems to hum with the presence of the other, and without any sound, your hearts communicate in a language far older and more profound than speech. In these moments, you are not searching for something to say, because the connection itself is speaking, bridging any distance in a way that is felt rather than heard. This kind of silence can arrive without warning. You might be going about your day, when a sudden heaviness, warmth, or wave of emotion washes over you, and deep within, you know they are thinking of you too. It is as if their soul has reached across space to brush against yours, awakening an unspoken dialogue that words could never capture. Such moments feel sacred, like a prayer that does not need to be uttered, only felt. Time seems to pause, honoring the invisible thread that ties you together, reminding you that even in absence, your bond remains alive and strong. In a world full of constant noise and distraction, this quiet is a rare gift. It is the kind of silence in which you could sit side by side for hours without speaking, yet leave feeling more deeply understood than after countless conversations. Within it lies everything that could be said, the apologies never voiced, the love never fully expressed, the longing carried in the heart, and the mutual recognition of what you mean to one another. Carl Jung's concept of synchronicity is at work here, for this profound stillness often occurs when both souls are thinking of each other at the exact same moment. The energies meet in an unseen realm, creating a resonance that is impossible to explain through logic, yet undeniable in experience. In this way, silence is not the absence of communication, but the purest form of it, where hearts speak in a spiritual language only they can understand, affirming that your connection is not bound by sound, but by something far deeper, unshakable, and eternal. If this sign resonates with you, leave a like, subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss insights like this. Comment below. Our silence speaks volumes to affirm your soul connection. And so, while the mysteries of synchronicity may never be fully explained, perhaps that's part of their magic, the way they quietly remind us that the soul often speaks in a language beyond logic. These moments, when two hearts align in thought at the very same instant, are like whispers from the universe, inviting us to trust the invisible threads that connect us. If this message has touched you, please like this video, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming videos filled with insight, inspiration, and soul connection.